The sun wasn't even down yet when Karen stormed into my backyard like she owned the place. She didn't knock or call. She shoved the gate open and shouted, "Give me the pool keys right now or I'll have you removed." I froze, not from fear but from shock at how bold she was. This woman had spent months pushing everyone around, acting like the entire HOA existed to serve her, and today, she was more fired up than ever. Her hair was messy, her face flushed, and she held a clipboard like it was a weapon. Before I could speak, she jabbed her finger at me. "My husband is a cop, and he's on his way. Hand over the keys before things get ugly." Her voice carried fake authority, and for a moment I almost felt sorry for her. She had no idea who she was dealing with. She thought I was another quiet neighbor she could intimidate. She didn't know I'd been undercover for almost a year or that people like her made my job easier. I kept my voice calm. "Karen, these are my keys, my pool, and my property. You have no right to demand anything." That made her snap. She stepped closer, invading my space like she was trying to prove something. "This community has rules. My rules. And if you won't respect them, my husband will handle you." I noticed movement behind her. Someone was power walking up the driveway. A man in uniform. Her husband. Karen's confidence shot up instantly. She smirked. "See, I told you. Now you're in trouble." I didn't move or even blink, because the moment her husband stepped into my yard, I saw something she didn't. Something that steadied my heartbeat even more. His badge number. I recognized it immediately. And everything changed. I slid my hand into my pocket, not for a weapon, but for something much more dangerous to people like them. "Evidence." Karen laughed as if she'd already won. "You should have given me the keys when you had the chance." She didn't know this was the moment her entire plan would fall apart. I let her savor her last second of false victory before everything turned. Her husband stepped between us, resting his hand on his holster like he wanted me to see it. He didn't ask a single question. He just stared at me with the same entitled confidence Karen wore, as if the world moved when they demanded it. "Hand over the pool keys," he ordered. "2 violations. Immediate compliance." Karen folded her arms and flashed a smug smile. "Told you he'd fix the problem." The officer took a step closer. "Sir, if you don't comply, I'll remove you from the property. My land, my pool." The words echoed in my mind, and for a second, I nearly laughed. They had no idea what they were walking into. They thought I was just some quiet neighbor who'd crumble under pressure. But the moment I saw his badge number, I knew exactly who he was. I'd seen his name in an internal file 3 months earlier. Officer Mark Dale, under investigation, suspected of taking bribes from HOA boards to enforce fake rules, and now he was standing in my yard threatening me, doing exactly what the reports described. Karen wasn't just bossy. She was using him like her own personal weapon. I took a slow breath. "You sure you want to do this?" Mark stiffened, confused for the first time. Karen frowned, irritated that she didn't understand. "What is that supposed to mean?" I ignored her. I looked directly at him. "You and I both know you can't remove me from property I own, and you definitely can't enforce rules your wife made up." His eyes widened for a split second before he tried to mask it with anger. "You watch your mouth," Karen barked. "Arrest him already." But Mark wasn't moving this time, because he saw what I was holding. A small black device, the same one I pulled from my pocket. I clicked the side and a tiny red light blinked to life. "A recorder already running. This conversation," I said quietly, "is being documented." Karen's expression collapsed from arrogance to panic. Why are you recording us?" I kept my tone steady. "Because everything you two are doing is illegal. And people at the bureau have been waiting for proof." Mark swallowed hard as the color drained from his face. "The bureau?" I stepped closer, looking him directly in the eyes. "Yes, FBI." Karen stumbled back like she had been hit. "You're lying." "He's lying, Mark. Tell him he's lying." But Mark said nothing. He knew exactly how bad this was, and I hadn't even shown the real evidence yet. Then everything spiraled. Karen grabbed his arm like a drowning person grabbing a lifeline. "Say something. Do something. He's bluffing." Her voice cracked. Mark tried to stand taller, but his eyes kept drifting to the blinking red light on my recorder. Fear replaced all his earlier confidence. "Turn that off," he whispered. "No threat, just desperation." I didn't move. "You stepped onto private property without a warrant. You tried enforcing a rule that doesn't exist. And your wife is parading around like she runs a federal agency." Karen tried to recover her confidence. "I do run this community. If I say someone loses pool access, then they lose it." Her voice was so loud that neighbors began peeking out their windows. But she didn't notice. She was too far gone. "You think being some low-level agent gives you power over me?" she demanded. I almost laughed, not because she insulted me, but because she was digging her own hole deeper with every word. Mark finally managed to speak, but his voice shook. Karen, maybe we should go. She spun on him. What? No, he's threatening us. You're a police officer. Arrest him. Mark didn't touch his cuffs. He whispered, he knows my badge number. Karen, he knows. She went silent. A flicker of fear crossed her face. What do you mean he knows your number? I let the moment hang, then said, your husband is already under internal review. Showing up here and trying to intimidate me only makes it worse. She blinked rapidly, her confidence falling apart. Mark, what is he talking about? He couldn't answer. I pulled out my wallet and flashed only a glimpse of my badge. A gold glint, just enough to freeze them in place. Karen's mouth dropped open. No, no way. The tension shifted instantly. They were no longer in control. They were trapped. I'll give you both one chance, I said softly. Leave my property right now, quietly, and maybe this gets handled with paperwork instead of handcuffs. Karen shook her head. No, you can't do this. This is my community, my rules. But before she could rant again, a voice thundered from behind us. Deep, firm, authoritative. Step away from him now. Karen froze. Mark's face turned white. An actual police sergeant stood at my gate, and he wasn't here for me. The sergeant walked right past me and stopped in front of Mark, his jaw tight. We got the report. You're done, Dale, Karen screamed. No, he was helping me. Arrest him, not my husband. But the sergeant didn't even glance at her. He removed Mark's badge and cuffed him. Mark didn't resist. He only lowered his head and whispered, I knew this would catch up to me. Karen tried to run to him, but I stepped in her way. It's over. You used fake rules, used your husband's badge, and threatened a homeowner on his own land. She shook her head, on the verge of collapse. You can't take everything from me. I'm not taking anything, I said. You did this to yourself. The sergeant handed me a small envelope. We've been waiting for your signal, I nodded. You have everything you need. The recording, the pattern, and the fake citation she printed. Karen broke down as the sergeant turned to her. Ma'am, you're being detained for harassment, falsifying HOA notices, and attempted coercion using law enforcement. She fell to her knees. Mark, help me. But Mark was already in the patrol car. Within minutes, they were gone. Karen screaming. Mark defeated. I stood alone in my yard, finally able to breathe. The gate swung gently in the breeze. The same gate she barged through as if she owned everything. And I whispered the line I had been holding on to the entire time. You should have never tried to take what wasn't yours. The neighborhood stayed silent for days after that, and nobody ever asked for my pool keys again. The end.